What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. We're taking a look at Frank Tate. We're going to start the middleweight series of the 1980s. We're going to look at some of the great fighters at that time. Now, Frank Tate had a trainer by the name of Jesse Reed and Billy Baxter. He was born August 27, 1964 in Detroit, Michigan. He would reside in Houston, Texas. He was a middleweight that stood 6 foot and he had a 72-inch reach. And I followed Frank Tate's career as an amateur. And I was looking at all them guys from 1982 to 1984 because I wanted to find out the next group of fighters that would be placed on the 1984 team in Los Angeles. Frank Tate, at that time, was a very, very strong prospect. And he had his trilogies, if you will, with Michael second to none, who's from Davenport, Iowa. And the thing with Frank Tate was from Detroit. Emanuel Stewart, R.I.P. to him, was the coach for that 84 team. And Frank Tate was a fighter out of the Kronk gym. Emanuel Stewart wanted Frank Tate to be on that Olympic team. And Frank Tate had an older brother by the name of Thomas Tate, who would eventually face Roy Jones Jr. But the thing with Frank Tate, Michael second to none was convinced to move up in weight, and he would wind up fighting Virgil Hill. And he was out of his weight class, and he would not make the Olympic team. And Frank Tate would make the Olympic team. And for many years, I always tried to figure out why that was. And Frank Tate would begin his professional career on a Friday night, December 7th, 1984, and knock his man out in 1 round. He would end his career with a 4-round knockout of himself. It was on a Friday night, October 9th, 1998. It was at the Capitol Theater. And it was against a man by the name of David Telesco. He fought out of New York upstate. I knew him. He would fight Roy Jones Jr. on Roy Jones Jr.'s birthday. It was at Radio City Music Hall. I was in the second row of that fight. And Roy Jones Jr. had brought out Method Man and Redman. Microphones were not working. But Arthur McCarthy Sr., I believe, was 90 years old that night. All kinds of things were going on. It was amazing. That night was amazing. But Frank Tate fought in the National Golden Gloves in 1983 as a light middleweight. It was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as part of the tournament. He also fought in the national championships in Colorado Springs. I was at that match. He defeated New York's Dennis Milton. Now, Dennis Milton was from the Bronx as well. You had Dennis Milton and Davey Moore, Iran Barkley, Macho Camacho. You had Alex Ramos and Mitch Blood Green. Green was from Queens. But all them guys trained in the same gyms. And Dennis Milton was a very, very good fighter. Remember when he got starched by Julian Jackson? But he was always ranked very highly in the amateurs. In fact, he was on the same team as Meldrick Taylor in the Nationals, 1982. In 1984, the Olympic trials, Fort Worth, Texas. He defeated a man by the name of Reggie Johnson. And Reggie Johnson would be in the ring with Roy Jones Jr. It would also be in the ring with James Lights Out Tony. He was a very good fighter, was Reggie Johnson. July 12, 1987, he would win a USBA middleweight championship from Troy Dow. Very good fighter was Troy Dow, very sturdy. October 10th, 1987, he would win the vacant IBF middleweight championship belt from Michael the Silk Elijah Day. Now, Michael Elijah Day was very strong. He was about 6'1". And he was an up-and-coming prospect. Now, he was champion then, but he was a model and had the Jerry Kill juice. No one really liked Michael Elijah Day because of his mannerism. I know him personally, very, very nice guy. But he defeated Michael Elijah Day, and I caught everybody's attention. And that was for the IBF Middleweight Championship belt. On February 7th, 1988, he would win the 15-round decision over Tony Simpson. Tony Simpson would face Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Now, everyone at this point started comparing to see where Frank Tate stood, because he became the face of the middleweight division. Marvin Hagler was on his way out. He had already lost at this point in time to Sugar Ray Leonard. And they wanted to see Frank Tate and Michael Nunn and all these guys with Marvin Hagler. And Marvin Hagler said, you know what, my time has ran its course. And he retired and went to Italy, started doing commercials. On July 28th, 1988, he would lose his IBF Middleweight Championship strap to Michael second to none. And he had his problems with Nunn in the amateurs. But Nunn became a different fighter at that time. He was a southpaw, and he created a style for himself. You couldn't hit Michael Nunn. He was very fast, very strong. And a lot of people say that Roy Jones Jr. was like Charlie Burley. Michael Nunn had a lot of the traits of Charlie Burley as well. He was very fast, but he was a southpaw. And I didn't see who could defeat Michael Nunn at this point when I saw him defeat Frank Tate. Michael Nunn was a very, very good fighter. And that shocked a lot of people. And I remember Jesse Reed telling Frank Tate, don't be denied, son. But it was nothing Frank Tate could do. And we started seeing someone who we thought would be the face of the middleweight division just vanish. January 27th, 1990, he would lose a vacant super middleweight championship to Lindell Holmes. Lindell Holmes would wind up fighting at a tournament. And I remember Bernard the Executioner Hopkins defeating Lindell Holmes. We had a new era in the middleweight division. He would fight fighters such as Uriah Grant and Andrew Maynard, Virgil Hill, the WBC, or the WBA, I believe it was, light heavyweight championship. Andrew Maynard was on the 1988 Olympic team. And I remember Andrew Maynard facing Thomas Hearns. Frank Tate, you know, I just didn't get the best out of Frank Tate. But Frank Tate, don't let nobody kid you, was a very, very good middleweight. Had an outstanding amateur career. And I just wanted to shout out Frank Tate. Salute to him. He's a very, very good fighter. He just unfortunately came around when Michael second to none was on his heels. All great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Salute to my subscribers. Salute to Frank Tate. Had a very good career. Let's follow this series of the middleweights in the 1980s. Right here on the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series.